In the final winter of the Romanov Empire, the Empress of Russia believes that a man with no title can help protect her only son. You have no office, in no army, in no place near a throne. You are a Siberian pilgrim in a dark coat. Within months, princes will decide that killing you is the only way to save Russia. But did you truly control an empire? Or did an empire already falling apart need someone to blame? Tonight, you enter the palace. You feel the cold before you see the gates. The Neva River is a sheet of black ice beneath the February wind. You walk with your head down, your beard crusted with frost, your boots worn soft from years of walking across Russia. Behind you stretch the frozen marshes, the pine forests, the villages where you once prayed for farmers and their sick children. Ahead of you waits a family that possesses 1/6 of the earth. The Alexander Palace glows through the bare trees, its yellow walls lit by electric light that a door opens before you reach it. Servants step aside. They do not meet your eyes. You are expected in the private wing, beyond the marble halls and the guards. A boy lies in a narrow bed. His name is Alexei. He is the heir to the Russian throne. You first saw him years ago, a pale child with a quick smile and a shadow of fear behind his eyes. Now that shadow has grown that a bruise is spreading beneath his skin. His leg is swollen, the joint twisted with pain. Blood is pooling where it should not pool, pressing against nerves, refusing to clot. His mother stands at the foot of the bed. The Empress Alexandra is tall and severe, but tonight her face is raw with exhaustion. She has spent hours at her son's side, watching doctors fail, watching the court whisper, watching the empire demand a healthy heir. She looks at you and says one word: help. You do not carry medicine. You do not carry instruments. You carry only your voice, your prayers, your strange stillness. You move toward the bed. The boy's eyes find yours. He is 10 years old. He has learned that his own body can turn against him. He has learned that his blood is a state secret. He is waiting for the pain to stop. You sit beside him. You speak softly, calmly, words of prayer and reassurance. The room quiets. The Empress watches. The night stretches on. This is how a peasant from Siberia enters the most protected family in Russia. Not through politics, not through war, not through a title. Through a frightened mother and a bleeding child. But how did you get here? And why will this moment eventually convince powerful men that you must die? To understand, you must leave this palace, this winter, this child, and travel backward. Back through years of walking. Back through forests and monasteries, back to a village at the edge of the world. The exact date of your birth is uncertain. The place is not. You grow up in Pokrovskoye, a settlement along the Turau River in western Siberia, a place so remote that St. Petersburg feels like another planet. The soil is frozen most of the year. The houses are built from dark timber. The church bell carries across the river in the summer. And in winter the silence is so deep you can hear the ice shifting beneath the snow. You are not wealthy. You learn to work with horses, to read the sky for weather, to endure cold that would kill a city man in hours. But even as a boy, something in you watches and waits. You are drawn to the church, to the chanting, to the stories of holy wanderers who leave everything behind and walk toward God. You marry. You have children. You run a household and drive a cart and live the ordinary life of a Siberian peasant. But the call does not leave you. In your late 20s or early 30s, you begin to travel, first to nearby monasteries, then farther. The distances are enormous. You cross the Urals on foot. You sleep in barns and fields and pilgrim shelters. You learn to pray for hours, to listen more than you speak, to watch people's faces and read what they cannot say. You become a strannik, a wanderer, a seeker, not a monk, never an ordained priest. You are a layman, a peasant believer who has learned the language of the soul, and you discover something strange. People listen to you. Your eyes hold them. Your voice calms them. You speak simply, directly, and they feel that you see their hidden suffering. By the early 1900s, your wandering carries you to St. Petersburg, the capital of the Russian Empire, the city of canals and palaces, of government ministries and secret police, of grand cathedrals and hidden gambling dens. You arrive in rough peasant clothes, smelling of the road. And yet, within a few years, bishops and aristocrats begin to seek you out. Why? Because the Russian elite is hungry. They are hungry for something real, something raw, something untouched by the stale rituals of court life. They have wealth and power, but they feel empty. They want faith that burns. They want a profit from the soil. They want you. You are introduced to salons and drawing rooms. Ladies in silk invite you to pray. Officers ask for your blessing. Priests debate you. Some call you a genuine man of God. Others call you a fraud. You do not defend yourself. You let the controversy grow. And then, in 1905, you meet the imperial family. The meeting is brief, but the emperor and empress are curious. They have heard of this Siberian peasant with the piercing eyes. They invite you to pray. You leave an impression. A few months later, when their son begins to bleed and the doctors cannot stop it, Alexandra remembers you. She asks you to come. That is the door, a sick heir, a desperate mother, a man who seems to bring calm into a room of terror. And the strange part is this. Sometimes the boy improves. You do not claim to heal him. You do not set bones or apply leeches or prescribe powders. You pray. You speak. You reassure. And sometimes the bleeding slows. The swelling begins to fade. The child sleeps. Was it you? Was it timing? Was it the natural course of hemophilia, which often resolves on its own after days of suffering? No one can say for certain. But Alexandra believes. She calls you our friend. She asks you to visit when Alexei is ill. She begins to see you as a protector, a man whose very presence keeps death away. The private apartments of the palace open to you. The guards stand aside. The most powerful family in Russia learns to wait for a peasant from Siberia. Relief can become belief. And belief can become dependence. Now you are inside. The question that will define the rest of your life is simple. What does it mean when an empress trusts you? And what will her enemies do when they realize she does? The year is 1912. The imperial family is staying at a hunting lodge in Poland when the boy falls. He trips while boarding a boat and strikes his thigh. At first it seems minor, a bruise, a sore hip. But inside his body, a vessel tears. Blood begins to pour into the muscle. His leg swells. His skin grows tight. The pain becomes so severe he cannot straighten the limb. The doctors are called. They can do nothing. The boy screams through the night. His face turns gray. A fever rises. The family prepares for death. You are not there. You are far away in Siberia, visiting your home village. But Alexandra sends a telegram. One sentence. A plea. Pray for Alexei. You send a reply. It is short and calm. Do not worry. The boy will not die. Hours pass. The boy remains in agony. The doctors whisper to Nicholas that there is no hope. The empress prays. Servants move through the halls with pale faces. The empire holds its breath. And then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the bleeding stops. The fever eases. The swelling begins to recede. The child opens his eyes. He sleeps. He wakes. He lives. Alexandra believes you saved him. Not medically, not physically, but through prayer, through faith, through a connection to something beyond the visible world. From that moment, your position is sealed. You are not just a visitor. You are essential. Historians will later note that hemophilia crises often resolve naturally, that the body's clotting mechanisms, however impaired, can eventually respond, that the timing of your telegram and the boy's recovery may be coincidence. But inside the palace, none of that matters. To Alexandra, you are the only thing standing between her son and the grave. The private world of the Romanovs is now built on this belief. Alexandra consults you on Alexei's health. She asks you to bless the family. She writes you letters full of devotion and anxiety. Nicholas tolerates you, respects you, perhaps even fears you. You are the secret at the center of the court, but secrets do not stay secret. Outside the palace, the empire is restless. Newspapers print rumors. Politicians whisper, "Who is this Siberian peasant? Why does he have access to the Tsarina?" What happens behind closed doors? You do not make it easier. In St. Petersburg, you live openly. You meet with followers, including women who call themselves your spiritual daughters. You drink. You eat. You speak in riddles. You tell people their sins and their fears. Your eyes seem to cut through them. Some leave shaken. Some leave devoted. Some leave determined to destroy you. Rumors spread. You are a cult leader. You are a hypnotist. You are a drunkard. You are a sexual predator. Some of these accusations may contain truth. You are not a saint. You drink too much. You are familiar with women. You enjoy attention, but others are distorted, exaggerated, invented. The line between the real man and the monster begins to blur. The Orthodox Church grows wary. Bishops who once welcomed you now denounce you. The secret police watch you. The Prime Minister warns Nicholas that your presence at court is damaging the monarchy. Nicholas listens. He does not act. Why? Because his wife believes, and because his son keeps bleeding. You become a weapon in the hands of the Empress's enemies. They cannot attack Alexandra directly, so they attack you. They cannot criticize the heir, so they criticize the peasant who whispers in the palace. You are the shadow behind the throne, the dark influence, the symbol of everything wrong with the empire. Then the world explodes. In the summer of 1914, a Serbian nationalist shoots an Austrian archduke in Sarajevo. Within weeks, alliances drag the great powers into war. Russia mobilizes. Crowds wave flags in St. Petersburg. Soldiers march toward the German border singing hymns. Everyone believes it will be over by Christmas. You do not believe it. You warn Nicholas not to enter the war. You see only suffering. The emperor ignores you. The empire goes to battle. For a while, patriotism silences the gossip. You fade from the headlines. But the war does not end by Christmas. It does not end the next Christmas either. It becomes a slaughter. Millions die. The army runs short of rifles, shells, boots. The economy strains. Food prices rise. The people grow hungry. In 1915, Nicholas makes a decision that will seal his fate. That he leaves the capital and takes personal command of the Russian army. He moves to the front, living in a train carriage, staring at maps while his soldiers freeze in the trenches. Alexandra is left in St. Petersburg with the government. She is not a politician. She is a nervous, devout, isolated woman who trusts almost no one. She writes to Nicholas constantly. She sends him your advice. She urges him to stand firm, to be strong, to trust in God. She begins to dismiss ministers who displease her and appoint new ones. Some of these ministers are your acquaintances. Some have been recommended by you. The court begins to believe that the Empress rules, and that you rule the Empress. But what is real? What do you actually control? You advise, you write letters, you recommend men, you warn against others, but you have no office, you have no authority, you cannot sign a decree or command an army or pass a law. Your influence is indirect, mediated through Alexandra, filtered through her fears and her faith. She listens to you, but she also listens to her own anxieties, her own distrust, her own desperate need to preserve the autocracy for her son. Historians still debate how much you truly shaped government policy. Some say you were a decisive force behind ministerial appointments. Others say your role was exaggerated by enemies who needed a simple explanation for a complex collapse. The truth lies somewhere in between. You mattered, but you were not the czar. You were a voice in a woman's ear. That distinction does not survive in the public imagination. In the cities, people say you are a German spy. They say you are sleeping with the Empress. They say you are running the country while the real ruler trembles at the front. The fact that you are a peasant makes it worse. The fact that you are Siberian, strange, uneducated, makes it worse. They call you the Dark Force. They blame you for every defeat, every shortage, every humiliation. By now, being close to the throne has made you visible, and visibility is turning into a death sentence. The city is no longer St. Petersburg. In 1914, the government renamed it Petrograd because the old name sounded too German. But the change of name cannot hide the change of spirit. The streets are gray. The shops are empty. Women wait in long lines for bread. Soldiers on leave wander through the snow with hollow eyes. The war has lasted too long. The dead are too many. The future is too dark. The court is isolated. The empress hides in her palace. The emperor stays at the front. The ministers cannot govern. The Duma, the parliament, is full of angry men who demand reform. They speak openly of the danger you represent. They write letters. They scheme. And they are not alone in aristocratic drawing rooms. Young princes and officers whisper a different kind of solution. If the peasant cannot be removed by politics, perhaps he can be removed another way. The date is late December 1916. A few nights before Christmas, the city is frozen. The streets gleam under gaslight. Along the Moika River, a palace waits, the Yusupov Palace. It belongs to Prince Felix Yusupov, one of the richest men in Russia. He is young, handsome, elegant, and obsessed with the idea that you are destroying his country. He has convinced himself that removing you will save the monarchy. That he is not alone. Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, a cousin of the Tsar, joins him. Dmitry is young, charming, restless. That he believes he is acting out of patriotism. He also knows that his name will protect him from consequences. Vladimir Purishkevich, a fiery right-wing politician, completes the conspiracy. That he is loud, theatrical, and convinced that the empire is collapsing because of you. Together, they make a plan. They will invite you to the palace. They will feed you poisoned cakes and wine. They will kill you quietly and hide the body. No trial, no scandal, and empress weeping over her holy man. Just a quiet death and a nation saved. According to Yusupov's later account, the night unfolds like a horror story. You arrive at the palace after midnight. You are led into a basement room furnished like an elegant salon. There are carpets and chairs and a table set with wine and small cakes. The walls are thick. The windows are high. The city is silent outside. Yusupov plays the gracious host. He offers you the poisoned sweets. You eat. According to him, the poison should kill you in minutes. It does not. You drink the wine. You sit. You talk. You seem fine. But the surviving evidence does not fully support every part of that story. Modern forensic review has found no reliable proof that cyanide was ever used. The dramatic tale of poison that fails to work may have been invented later to make you seem inhuman. That we do not know exactly what happened in that basement. What we do know is that by the end of the night, you are dead. You are shot more than once. Your body is bundled into a cloth and carried out of the palace. A car takes it to the river. The conspirators push you through a hole in the ice, into the freezing water. When your body is found days later, the autopsy suggests you were shot in the head and in the torso. There is no water in your lungs. You were likely dead before you entered the river. The legend that you struggled free, that you crawled through the ice, that you fought until the final second, is exactly that, legend. The truth is smaller, quieter. You are murdered in a palace basement by men who believe they are heroes. The poison may not have existed. The fight may have been brief. The empire they hope to save is already collapsing around them. Here is the irony. They kill you to protect the monarchy. They believe that removing the dark force will restore order, calm the public, and bring the war to a successful end. They imagine themselves as saviors, but they are 3 years too late, or 300. The problems they blame on you are deeper than one peasant, deeper than one empress, deeper than one dynasty. The Romanov autocracy has been struggling for decades. The war has accelerated its decay. The people are hungry. The army is mutinous. The aristocracy is divided. The emperor is weak. You are a symptom, not the disease. And so they kill the symptom, and the disease kills everything else. News of your death spreads quickly, but instead of relief, it brings confusion. The empress is devastated. She believes her protector is gone, and with him, perhaps, her son's safety. The emperor is silent. The court is paralyzed. Then the real storm begins. In February 1917, bread riots break out in Petrograd. Women march through the streets demanding food. Workers strike. Soldiers refuse to fire on the crowds. Within days, the government collapses. Nicholas tries to return from the front, but the railways are blocked. His generals tell him the truth. It is over. On March 15, 1917, in a railway carriage, Nicholas II signs his abdication. 3 centuries of Romanov rule, and not with a battle, but with a signature. He hands the throne to his brother, who refuses it. The empire is gone. You did not cause this, but your murder did not prevent it. The men who killed you thought they were cutting out a cancer. They removed one man and discovered the patient was already dying. The shortages remained. The war continued. The anger grew. And now there was no scapegoat left, only the monarchy itself. After the revolution, your body is found and burned. The new government tries to erase you. But it fails, because your death creates a bigger legend than your life ever did. The world hears the story of the peasant who could not be poisoned, who could not be shot, who could only be killed by the freezing river. The story spreads through memoirs and newspapers and films. You become a dark saint, a holy devil, a symbol of a fallen empire's corruption. Books are written, movies are made. Your eyes stare out from photographs, wild and unblinking. But the legend hides the man. You were not supernatural. You were not a demon. You were not even, despite everything, the most powerful person in Russia. You were a peasant with a gift for presence, a capacity for faith, and a talent for survival. You walked into a palace because a child was bleeding. You stayed because a mother believed. You fell because a nation needed someone to hate. The murderers killed a symbol. They could not touch the system. And when the Romanovs were taken from their palace, when they were exiled to the Urals, when they were led into a cellar in 1918 and shot, no one could save them. Not the empress's prayers, not the emperor's decisions, not the princes who thought murder could restore an empire. You were dead, but Russia's suffering had only changed its shape. So here is the end of your story. A man from nowhere enters the center of the world. He is loved by a family and feared by a nation. He is murdered by men who think they are saving their country, and the country falls anyway. Your name becomes a curse and a fascination. Your body becomes ash. Your influence becomes myth. And the question that haunted your life remains unanswered. Did you truly control an empire? Or did an empire already falling apart need someone to blame? They killed the man they feared. They could not save the empire.